The morning ritual. If you're like my husband Colby, you enjoy your cup of coffee in the quiet moments before the hustle and bustle of the day begins. So when the morning marches on, what do you do with those spent coffee grounds? Do you compost them? Hello, I'm Amy Landers with GardensThatMatter.com, where we help teach families how to grow beautiful, bountiful gardens together. And an important corollary to gardening is composting. In this video, we're going to answer the question, can I compost coffee grounds? In a word, yes. And I want to highlight 3 reasons it's a great idea to compost your coffee grounds. And I want to warn you about one potential problem that could come up. Reason number 1, there are lots of coffee grounds available for your compost pile. In the US, the average coffee drinker has 3.5 cups of coffee, according to the National Coffee Association. I don't drink quite that much every day. What about you? Whether you are drinking the average amount or not, you can imagine what this means nationally, on an international level even. We are sending billions of pounds of coffee grounds through our coffee makers, in our espresso machines, and then when they come out the other side, what are we doing with them? Hopefully we are not sending them to the landfill because they are a great material for our compost piles. At your house, you control that, right? You decide that they're not going in the garbage anymore, they're going into your compost pile. On a community level, if you are a gardener who is looking for more compost, you are going to be able to find coffee grounds that somebody is looking to dispose of in a more responsible way. Your local barista, think about your school or your office or your church, the coffee that is made at events. Those coffee grounds could be feeding your compost pile. Reason number 2, coffee grounds don't attract very many pests. You can use these coffee grounds in your compost without them being interesting to rodents and most insects. So that means even if you don't have an active compost pile, you can just sprinkle the coffee grounds on the soil around your plants, or you could stockpile them and do a big batch in the fall when you have plenty of leaves. And you don't have to worry about attracting unwanted pests when you do it. Reason number 3, coffee grounds are a great nitrogen source in your compost pile. In our compost piles, we want to have a nice balance of nitrogen sources, we call those greens, and carbon sources, we call those browns. Now, coffee grounds are brown in color, but in composting terms, they're a green. They're nitrogen rich. They're about 20-to-1 nitrogen to carbon ratio, which is going to heat your pile up. It's bacteria food. It's going to be feeding those bacteria that are really going to be decomposing things in your compost pile. So if you have a slow compost pile, they're going to be fabulous for it. If you have a ton of fall leaves, you can balance those out with your coffee grounds and your kitchen scraps, and you're going to have a nice mix for your composting. Now, I did promise to warn you about the one potential problem that can come up with coffee grounds, and that is this. If you put a large amount of coffee grounds into your pile at once, so think bringing it home from an event or from the local coffee shop, and you don't mix it in with brown materials, you're going to end up with kind of a slimy, wet layer where you're going to have anaerobic decomposition happening. And we want aerobic activity in our compost piles. We want air because the bacteria and the fungi we're looking for to get that hot compost happen in aerobic conditions. So easy fix, you're going to mix that coffee with brown materials in your compost, brown leaves, wood chips, shredded paper, something that's going to be coarse, dry material that's going to bring those air spaces into your compost pile, and you'll be set to go. Do you have more questions about what you can and can't compost, or about composting in general? Well, we've made it easy for you. In the description for this video, you'll find links to our website, GardensThatMatter.com. One of them is going to take you to a spot where you can sign up for the ins and outs of composting. This is a quick reference you can print to make it easy to know what can and can't go in the compost. You can also ask your own question about composting or gardening for me to answer in a future video. Thank you so much for watching today. If you want more garden goodness, be sure to subscribe. And if you know somebody else who's interested in composting, I'd love for you to share this video with them. Until I see you again, happy gardening!